I think what happened was we got disconnected from Facebook, so I'm just going to do this over again. And it's episode 18, and I'm going to be discussing invisibility and brain glitches. Now that's my own term, but anyhow, I am going to describe it on more of a scientific level, so that you'll realize that I'm just not making something up, except for, of course, the term brain glitches. A lot of people have seen my work, and a lot of people are confused by my work as well. Um, it, uh, it's something I picked up, I don't know, maybe about 16 years ago. And I have been researching this ever since. Um, at one point in time, it would have been called psychic photography, and and it was being able to capture the invisible with a camera. And if you want to know how it's done, you can. Okay. If you want to know how it's done, you can go to my earlier episodes, 1, 2, 3, maybe up to 5, and I explain it more in detail about photographing the invisible. But I always stress to everyone that what you need to do is always take with you a camera. If you feel something, chances are something's there, so take a picture of it. Even though you don't see it, does not mean it's not there. It just means you can't see it. It's not within your spectrum of vision. But if you're lucky enough, it will be in your spectrum of vision with the camera. All right. Now I call this this what I do brain glitches, because somehow, some way, phenomena is happening, but we don't see it. So I've always connected it with the brain. The brain needs to be programmed as to what something is, and if the data isn't there, it's kind of like a computer. And if the data isn't there to compare it with, the brain just recreates an event it is familiar with. So like if somebody disappears, and now the brain's going to say, oh, that doesn't happen. I don't have any data on this as to what is going on here. So I'm going to replace this with something I'm more familiar with. Thus, even though the event happened, the brain's not registering it. And for all these years, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain it first, then I'm going to follow it up with visual aid through my pictures, all right? So you'll be able to understand it more. Now, we put out 25 broadcasts, but only 18 on these live stream classes that I'm doing. Hi, Walter. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Will. Hi. I hope that you. I'm sorry about what happened earlier. Apparently, my live stream just quit on me, so I had to redo. So, but anyhow, what I call a brain glitch is what science calls change blindness. I'll repeat it: change blindness. And apparently they've been, the scientists have been studying this phenomena since, I don't know, the 70s, 80s, 90s. And I just wasn't familiar with their term. So because I wasn't familiar with their term, I wasn't able to pull scientific data down to confirm what was happening in the haunted woods of Burlington, Wisconsin. But now I'm on it. Now I know. it's like when I was doing all this study, and a lot of people are doing all this study on Nibiru, and um, and a lot of people, call it Planet X. Now, us researchers, we were going into Google and looking up Nibiru and Planet X and whatever, and just pretty much getting information based off Zecharia Sitchin's work and some of his people that had worked with him. But scientists were also working on the same problem, and understanding Nibiru. But see, they don't like to correspond themselves or correspond with us on a lot of this. They like to keep that separation there. So they will we're calling it one thing, they'll be calling it something else. And so, like with Nibiru and Venus, what they were doing is they had a term for it. They were researching it through Cambridge, but they were researching it under the project name Enki, Comet Enki. So who would have known? But I managed, I kind of use my computer, Google, almost like a dosing rod. And if I'm tuned into my computer just right, sometimes it takes on a mind of its own, like my camera, and it gives me information that I wouldn't necessarily even thought of. So, anyhow, the same way with this change blindness. We have a lot of people that go up into the woods with us, okay, because we do hardwood tours up there. I used to even do them in the winter, but, I do not like the cold, so I've been kind of staying away from that. But we take the people into the woods, and as soon as we get into the woods, we are getting all this strange phenomena. One of the phenomena that we were getting, was we were shooting pictures, and in our pictures, the people weren't there. They had disappeared. Everything else was there except the person. Or you would see them transitioning into another dimension where all you'd see is like a shadow of themselves, or they were so transparent you could actually see through them. And with see the leaves or the branches through their body. But you could only see it on camera. And I would show the pictures to everybody. And they'd say, well, how can that be? Because we didn't see them disappear. We were watching and they were right there. They were talking to us. And so I just came up with the term brain glitches. Okay. Hold on just a second. Hi, I'll call you right back. I'm doing a show. Okay? Love you. Bye-bye. That was my son. Sorry. So, anyhow, I would just tell them, well, it's a type of a brain glitch. The brain just doesn't have the information to compare the event to. Thus, it recreates the event. Walter, something went wrong. Yes. For some reason, my Facebook shut down on me, so I had to start over. Sorry about that. Hi, Christina. And hi again, Walter. So, now, like I said, I did this little article on it, and I thought that maybe what we needed first was to go with the article I wrote. And this was all based on scientific papers explaining change blindness. All right, and that's what it's called, change blindness. Now, this was, one thing I wanted to, I came across this, and I thought that this was kind of important because this is how I photograph. Is I get this feeling that there's something in front of me, or something's around me, something's watching me. So I'm kind of getting this feeling from my third eye. Intuition, maybe you'd like to call it. If it's a police officer listening to this, I guess we would call it our gut instinct. It's all in the terminology, isn't it? But, so anyhow, I came across this, and it says, and this came from the University of British Columbia in Canada, under psychological science. It has often been assumed that when we use vision to become aware of an object or event in our surroundings, this must be occupied by a corresponding visual experience, such as seeing. It is shown here that this assumption is incorrect. When observers view a sequence of displays alternating between an image of a scene and the same image changed in some way, they often feel or sense the change even though they have no visual experience of it. The subjective difference between sensing and seeing is mirrored in several behavioral differences, suggesting that the two are distinct modes of conscious visual perception. The critical factor is attention. To see an object change, it is necessary to focus and put your attention or attune yourself to it. In people, when I do tours, that's what I do, is I like to go ahead of everyone. It's kind of like, visualize like a still lake. Nothing moving. The water's just totally still. When I have that type of environment that nobody else has walked through, it's just laying there nice and still, I can go in and read I can read the environment. I can read what's there, whether it be visible or invisible, because I'm able to tune into that quietness. But now, as somebody jumps ahead of me, which has happened several occasions, and it's like nails going down the blackboard for me. But they get so excited, and they'll run ahead of me. That's, to me, is like taking a motorboat, putting it on that nice, quiet, still waters, revving up the engine, and taking off and throwing up all those waves. Total disruption for me. And thus, I have a very difficult time being able to tune in to the tune into the forest, the woods, and I get a little grouchy over it, because, well, for one thing, people have paid good money for me to take them out into those woods, so I want to give them the best I can, and it's difficult if the water's been muddied for me. So, but anyhow, so I can tune in and I can read it. Okay? Just wanted to bring that up because there's a few of you out there I know watching my show that has actually walked ahead of me, and so don't do that no more. Okay? Now, going back to change blindness. I mean, it's something, that we know, but we've never put attention to it. We watch it on magician shows all the time. The hand is quicker than the eye. You can make something disappear right in front of everybody. And people say, wow, what did he do? It's magic. Well, they understand how change blindness works. And when we're done here, you should kind of understand it as well. And I think that this change blindness, I think, applies to so much of the phenomenon or phenomena that is going on around us today, such as Bigfoot hunting, seeing UFOs, seeing shadow people, disappearing, and it even what is that called? The Mandela effect. The Mandela effect. This just fits in so perfectly with trying to understand. So anyhow, so going on. So now we know. To see an object, it is necessary to focus, put your attention, or attune yourself to it. And when I do a tour, that's what I do before I take people in, is I try to get them all of one mind. I tell them, I tell them what to expect and how to watch for it. So I try to tune their mind into the possibilities. So instead of going in there and chattering with all their friends or getting on their cell phones, and talking to gosh only knows who, that they actually are focusing on subtle energies. I have them focus on the smell, the changing smell. It's all focusing on subtle energies, which includes the change of the smell in the woods, the change of the wind. Does it become, or the air? Does the air smell sweeter? Does it? It has the wind picked up any? Is it quiet? Because it'll change all the way through there. And in there, every time you feel that change, or smell, or see, or feel that change, you know that there's something there causing that change. So I have them notice the air. I have them notice the temperature. I had them notice I had them pay attention to how the trees grow. How I had them stop and communicate with the trees. By the time I'm done, they're basically one. Sandy Brill says it's coming through a little glitchy. I hope that she's the only one that is having that problem. But anyhow, change blindness. Attracting an ever-increasing amount of attention and study is the phenomena of change blindness, defined as perceptual phenomena that occurs when a change in a visual stimulus is introduced and the observer does not notice it. This is what we call change blindness. To show this, this one group developed a flicker paradigm in which an original and modified image continually alternate one after another with a brief blank field between the two. The onset of each blank field swamps the local motion signals caused by a change, short-circuiting the automatic symbol or system that normally draws our attention to its location. Without automatic control, attention is controlled entirely by the slower, higher-level mechanisms which search the scene object by object until attention lands upon the object that is changing. The change blindness induced under this conditions is a form of invisibility. Now you see that, okay, that's scientific terms. Now, us, it would be, a lot of you are sending into the group photos of orbs, of faces, ghostly faces. Many of you are sending in pictures of Bigfoot hiding in the leaves or behind trees. Well, and we look at it, we can't see it, right? Then I'll ask them to show me where this is. Draw, it's like here. Hold on. Hopefully I can do this. Hold on. It's like, oh, darn it. Hold on. It's like, let's say that there's a whole bunch of faces, and they're saying that's the family of Bigfoot in there. And so I'll say, well, draw me a circle. Hold on. Draw me a circle. And then somebody will see, oh, I see that little face in there. There it is, right there. Okay. And so you see, it was invisible until somebody pointed it out. Then you were able to put attention to it. Then you were able to see it. That's our terms. Okay, I like our terms better. But a lot of people, what they do is they want that scientific background, the scientific studies. And so what I try to do with my work is tell you in my terms, confirm it, with science. And then, it's like a good recipe. Then you splash in some common sense. And I use visual aids. So I try to make it as simple as possible, but also something that you can be able to, something that you're able to talk about and have scientific confirmation. Okay? Okay, so hopefully, let's see. There's, whoops. I'm a-learning. I'm hoping there. Okay. Some of these comments aren't coming through, I don't think. So if I ignore you, I'm sorry. Okay. And if you're having a difficult time watching this live stream, please let me know. And okay, so now here's some experiments that they did on change blindness. Dan Simmons and Dan Levine created a live version of a change blindness experiment. People were walking in a familiar environment when someone, a researcher actually, asked them for directions. As they were giving directions, people carrying a large door passed between the conversation partners. At the door pass, the people finished giving directions. Unbeknownst to them, their conversation partner changed when the door passed. The person they were talking to helped carry the door away, while someone different stopped to finish taking directions. Their conversation partner changed in the middle of the conversation. Now, would you notice if your conversation partner changed? Everyone thinks they would notice, but Simon and Levin found, however, that about half the people failed to notice the change. And you can find videos on this on YouTube. They show videos of people watching some sort of an experiment with a gorilla appearing, or walking through the crowd. Nobody sees the gorilla. And then there's another one, where there's a woman with an umbrella. So, but they should, if you pointed them out, people would see them. But if they're not pointed out, their attention is somewhere else, then that gorilla or that person that was, with the door scene, they would not have been noticed. That's why, too, it's like with cars. People, they say, like, for example, the other day, one of my sister-in-laws was telling me how ridiculous it was that the police are saying that it's against the law now to hang things from your rearview mirror. Well, the reason that is because your brain will, it can multitask, yes, but it can only focus on one thing. So if you have like baby shoes and different things hanging from your rearview mirror, and all of a sudden they're moving about, and you put attention to that, when your attention's to that, everything else really is quite invisible to you. So a person could step out in front of your car and you would never notice and run them over. Or you would drive into the back end of another car. They've also noticed that people, now that they understand that people have change blindness, and it's been proven, they're starting to wonder a little bit about live witnesses on that, going to trial and telling what they saw, because what they see is based on where their attention was. And it's also based on what you're expecting to see, and what has been coded in your brain. So if a UFO came down and banged into this car and there was an accident, and you had 5 witnesses, chances are all 5 witnesses was that another car had hit another car, because it's not coded within their brain to accept the fact that a UFO actually flew down over the car and hit another car, then took off. So it's the way it goes, folks. Let's see. Other researchers have found change blindness in comparing memories to pictures. Now, this kind of makes me think of the Mandela effect. Because there's not only the Mandela effect. I have read, and people have posted to me, for me to start paying attention to pictures. Because they say, in time, the pictures change. Okay? Well, do the pictures really change? Or is it because what was invisible to us at the time that we were originally looking at them now has become for some reason visible? So when we first looked at the picture, we didn't see the barn. So there was no barn in the picture. 10 years later, we look at it, and because now we've evolved, and and we've heard the stories of this place and the barns it had and stuff in it and everything. And so now we find that same old picture, and we look at it, and there's the barn. So you see, what we see comes into focus, goes out of focus, comes into focus, and out of focus. So, other researchers have found change blindness in comparing memories to pictures. If you show people pictures of familiar scenes, for example, they fail to notice missing buildings. In a variety of research paradigms, we fail to notice meaningful changes. And again, I wrote this up prior, and I referenced the Mandela effect. If you have a more detailed representation, then changes might cause you to fail to even recognize someone. And I hope you understood that. If you have a more detailed representation, like it's like, I know what Brad looks like. God knows I should. We've been married for 20 plus years, right? I know his hairstyle. I know his blue eyes. I know his smile. But if he put contacts in his eyes and turned them from blue to green, would I notice? It's not because I'm scatterbrained and I'm not and have attention deficit. It's just that our brain has a certain image in our, as to how it sees people. And see, like, my impression of Brad is gray hair, blue eyes, and short hair, fairly short haircut. And so, because of it, even if he changed his hair color or he changed his eye color or something like that, chances are when I first look at him, I'm not even going to see those changes until he says, well, you see anything different? And maybe I look at him and say, no, not really. And, well, I got a haircut today. Oh, yeah, I like that haircut. That's cool. Or a girl, how many wives jump on their husbands because the husband didn't pay attention to their new outfit? Well, chances are it was he didn't see the new outfit, which is probably a good thing, because if you paid over $300 for the outfit, you probably don't want him paying attention anyhow, because then you're going to have to tell him that you paid $300 for the outfit, and then watch the attention all of a sudden he gives you about that outfit. So, anyhow, if you had more detailed representation, like I just talked about, then changes might cause you to fail to even recognize someone. For example, people that I've met at the cafe. I do this all the time, too. I can visit with them every day as long as they're in that particular environment. Of the cafe. Or if they're in my house or in my hometown, okay, I'll recognize them. I know who they are. Now take them and put them in a different town, in a store, or at a gas station or someplace like that. Chances are I'm not going to recognize them. I might think, they look familiar. Something about them is familiar. But until they come up, how many of you have had people come up to you and say, hey, hi, how you doing? Haven't seen you for a while. And you have not the slightest idea who they are. And then you just go back and say, oh, hi, I haven't seen you for a while either. What's cooking? But, and then your brain is just racing around trying to place that person, trying to identify that person. And without the proper coding, it doesn't register until they say something, But it happens to me all the time. I've had my kids, my own children, all of a sudden they'll be, I'm at the cafe or something, and if I don't know, and let's say Bob, he comes into town and he doesn't tell me, and he's walking across the street, or he's just standing across the street looking at me. I'm going to be looking at him thinking, wow, who the heck is that guy? Sure looks a lot like Bob. But see, the brain's not going to register it as Bob. Until, of course, Bob waves to me and says, hi, Mom. Crazy, huh? So anyhow, if you had a more detailed representation, then chances might cause you to fail to even recognize someone. For example, put people in their proper known places, such as what I had said about the cafe, but take them out of this known scenario, and it happens like I said. It is not that we don't like or even love them, but at that moment they no longer fit into the perception our mind has encoded of them. And even to the point of making them invisible to us as they walk down the street. How many times have you had a friend walking down the street, you're talking to somebody else, your attention's to somebody else, and they have to actually stop you and say hi because you didn't see them. They're invisible to you. And that's what okay, let's go on. And that might be, yeah, that was it. So, and that's what happens in the woods. But the nice thing about it is, if you have a digital camera, If you feel something and you look and it's not there, does not mean it's not there. It just means that you can't see it. Now, this goes back to that second vision we were talking about originally, okay? That perception, your intuition, your gut feeling, your sense that something is there, your second sight, that is a form of sight. Okay, so and according to the University of British Columbia, it's been often assumed that when we use vision to become aware of an object or event in our surrounding, this must be accompanied by a corresponding visual experience, such as seeing. It is shown here that this assumption is incorrect. When observers view a sequence of displays alternating between an image of a scene and the same image changed in some way, they often feel or sense the change, even though they have no visual experience of it. The subjective difference between sensing and seeing is mirrored in several behavioral differences, suggesting that the two are distinct modes of conscious visual perception. So, that means what I said. Always take your camera with you, because you may not see it physically through your eyes, visually, but your second sight, which has been proven through the University of British Columbia, says you have a second sight, and that's your intuition, your sense, okay, that something is there, something's wrong, okay? So because of it, you take that picture, and then when you get home, or look at being that's a digital camera, you can look in the back on the screen and see what you see. Compare what you're seeing physically with what the camera's capturing, because remember, the brain is coded with information. Okay, it's coded, and the brain sends out the information to you that creates the reality that you're seeing. But a camera doesn't have a brain. It's a very simple instrument. It photographs what is either there or what is not there. Thus, takes the picture. So, when I take people in the woods and they disappear, our brain will not register that. It will recreate the event. The camera or the camcorder will show the event without you being in it. Simple as that. And we took, now if you're in my group, you can see the video that TMZ4 did. That's one of the largest television news stations in Wisconsin. And they had, but they have kind of like this lifestyle section, and that they put on television. And so anyhow, they went out into the woods with us, and you could hear them, and they did a video of my tours, and you can hear them talking about how people were disappearing on their video recorder. Now that wasn't me, that was TMJ4. Also, it was actually photographed, two alternate parallel universes photographed, one group walking together with another group. That was photographed by Walworth County newspaper. We've also had, there's so many different newspapers and television shows and documentaries that have shown how people disappear in these woods. It's not magic. It's but we do have to learn how to understand how our brain works and how our visualization works. And realize that because something is not seen at that moment does not mean that it's not there. And that's what these shows are about, these live streams are about, is to help you to understand that we are evolving, that we're no longer like ostriches with our heads stuck in the sand. We're pulling our heads out now, and we're looking around. But there's so much disinformation out there. There's so many trolls out there trying to get your head stuck back in that sand. And you just can't do it, folks. Because, especially like with me, I mean, if I hadn't discovered the metaphysical world and hadn't went into these studies, and I would have stayed a Christian, I would have probably been a happy little camper, but I would have been in a pen and force-fed all this information that the religious cults want us to believe, as well as government and everything else like that. I've been a fattened cow. But I've been content, and there's many, many out there that is content. The thing is, though, I saw what was on the other side of the pen. I saw the green pastures. And I got out. And once you've been out, and once you've experienced, and once you've learned, you just can't go back. You can't. No, and there's a lot of tricks that try to get you to go back. But you have to change. See, the brain has been, it's like when you receive a computer that doesn't have the CPU, the central processing unit in it, or it doesn't have the, like a Windows, okay? It's just kind of like an empty tin thing, a tower. Then you got to put all the stuff in it, you know, and you know, the programs to get it to run. And this happens as soon as you're born. Your brain's been programmed as to what to believe, what not to believe, what to, you know, what to touch, what not to touch, what to feel, what not to feel. You know, everything has just, it's just, I don't even know how we've managed so far. Well, we've managed as fat and livestock, but that's about it. But there's always people that's going to laugh at you and say this stuff isn't true. But you can always use my live streams, and I can show them, you know, and in my groups, I can show scientific evidence that this stuff is happening. We're not fools. We're not crazy. We're not idiots. And those that are laughing at us they just right at this point in time don't have a clue of what they're talking about. They've been trained to laugh at you. You know, actually trained. Society has trained them to, you know, how conveniently we have actually trained ourselves to police ourselves as to what to believe and what not to believe. We keep everybody in line through ridicule. But we're not calling the shots. Somebody else is calling the shots. And they understand how the mind works. They understand how mind control works. They understand how, how to put out the proper advertising to get people buying more stuff. How to make the most profit off each person. So, okay, and we went into that the last show, so I'm not going to go into that too much. But, okay, so now we've known that. So now let's Now we're going to start having some fun, because I put some, oh, before we go into that, I want to show you, because we got it, when it comes to these pictures, okay, you're going to see people upside down, inside, practically inside out. You're going to see lights spinning around them. A person half here, and then another, and that same person half over someplace else, right? So, but I want to help you to understand how this process works as well. And we're just about there. Okay. Oh, darn it. I'm wondering, hold on. Hold on. I have a picture of a vortex I wanted you to see. Maybe it's here. Hold on. Yep, I found it. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to switch you over. Let's see. This is a vortex. See it? That's a spinning vortex. And, oh, darn it, it looks like I might have to just kind of clean my lens. Hold on. Okay. Yep, there we go. See, now you see this here? See all those specks? That's what happens when you get into a vortex. Because the vortex is spinning. Now you can't see the vortex, but it's there. And it's spinning. Now think of yourself as that, knowing that your body is molecular. So all these molecules spinning around, because it causes time and space distortion. So it's spinning and it's scattering all of these molecules around. Now, because we experience the phenomena of change, I forget the name of it. I always forget the name of it. But because our brain doesn't accept something like this, seeing this, it sees the body as a whole, a whole person. And everything right there. Okay, let me see. I'm just kind of going through this just a little bit. But anyhow, this is the most important thing that you need to understand. Is these spinning molecules. That's what's happening when we're up in the woods. Keep that in mind as you're watching these pictures. And then, keep in mind what I said about change blindness. Okay? Now, I'm going to take this back. And when you get on the group, I actually have the website where you can read up more on this, okay? So, anyhow, I'm going to take us back to the pictures. Okay. Now, let's see. Hold on. Let's take this woman's face here. See, that's one face. This is oops. Darn it. There's one face, and then there's the other face. See it? Now, I'm using a digital camera. And notice, there's two expressions. See? Two head positions. I think, and then, let's see. And then you're seeing all this coming through. Now remember, and so anyhow, what this is display. This is this again is caused by the vortex, and it causes a displacement of time and space. It creates it creates doorways that open up into other worlds. And when you're in a vortex, going back to those molecules, remember? What happens is a vortex will heat up those molecules to the point, and to the point it excites them, causing them to speed up and faster and faster and faster and faster. And when they hit a certain point, a speed, what will happen is the etheric body will can no longer be contained in the physical body. And thus it will actually leave the physical body and go out into the other realities, other dimensions. And this is what's happening here. Okay. It's time to step outside the box. Yes, it is, Lynn. Now, this one here. Here, you're seeing a driveway. See, this whole thing is a driveway. It's in the parking lot. See the gravel? The tire tracks? And then up here you see the people standing next to their cars on the driveway, right? But look at what else we have. Right in here. Whoops. Right in here. And if you look closer, you can see that the impression of them is in the driveway. You can see the gravel of the driveway. You can see the tire prints. But that is that. So now we're going to pull it back. See? You have two worlds. One world superimposed on the other world. This world here superimposed over this. Two worlds. And again, you cannot see that. And that's cat and that's bread. All right. Here is the driveway or the parking lot of the woods. And you notice that it has, the space is very, very distorted. And there's blue. That's why you have to pay attention to, changes, the subtle changes. Because, see, there's a blue energy that's going through. And that energy is causing these people, they're actually lifting. Do you see them, how they're lifting up above themselves? They're being pulled into another dimension. See that blue coming down on them? Okay. This is just a regular old picture. There's Lynn. And this is just one of, we, as you can see, we have all ages coming on our tours. And we've had thousands of people that have been on my tours. And it's pretty much word of mouth. Whoops, went the wrong way, I think. Okay, here's a good, now this one here is pretty good for showing this, change blindness, because see, we're focusing on one thing here. As you can see, they're all focusing on different things, right? but they're not seeing anything. But as you see, I'm shooting back at them, and look at what my camera is showing all around. And again, here's another group of people. And this blue that you're seeing, let's see, this blue here, that's a driveway. And again, you have all these people. Well, in this case, what it is the driveway is superimposed. Here's the tire tracks here. And you'll see that the driveway is superimposed over them. In the first one with Kat and Brad, they were in that other world. But this one here, it's being one world is being superimposed on the other. Two worlds coming together as one. Here you see, let's see, up here is one dimension. See the feet? See, there's two worlds there. But when I photographed it, I only caught the bottom part of the top dimension, the top world. Now, this person here is actually here. See, because it doesn't take, a lot of times it doesn't take everyone. We'll just take one person. And at this point, it's this person right here. Right there. And notice the lights coming in. Now those are spirit lights. They're coming in from here's the, I'm saying right, let's see, where is it? Here, let's see. Here's the opening of the portal. And something's coming out in the light stream. And it's actually going right over to her, see? And that's her right there. Here we have people disappearing and others shifting into other dimensions. This is at the fairy kingdom. We put M&Ms out here, and the fairies come and take them. But you can see, here's the one group. Here's the one group. And then see here, up in here, that's them shifting again into a higher dimension. And then you have a fairy. This here, going through here, that's a fairy. Going for the fairy food. Now, this here, this person, you see these marks on him here? Let's see. All these little marks all over the place. That is not part of his sweatshirt. That is him becoming transparent and you being able to see the leaves behind him or through him. So he's, yeah, okay, and see here's the tree. And here again is this girl here. And now these people, see, you could just, let's see. Here again, you barely make them out. Okay, see here, here's one. And this person here is becoming transparent. So you hardly see them at all in the picture. Here, here, and here. See? This is a daytime vortex. Again, see this person disappearing. Here, that's a person disappearing into the fairy kingdom. And see right up here is the M&Ms that she has put down. And then see how this light creature is coming in to grab some of the M&Ms right in here. Okay. And see, here she is. Actually, there's a few people. There's this one here and this one here that's disappearing into the fairy kingdom. And again, we like using the fairy kingdom because, you know, there's a portal there, and the fairy kingdom is there's worlds within worlds within worlds, and these worlds are all inhabited by entities, people, creatures, entities, whatever you want to call them, but their world is just as real as our world. And when the conditions are right, a portal will open, a doorway, and they can come out and we can go back inside. And now this person here, you can see he's actually disappearing too. He's becoming transparent. You can see through him. And so anyhow, daytime vortex. I'm just going to kind of go through some of these. This daytime vortex. Here's more people disappearing. Daytime vortex. Now this one, this is a lot of times what we call this is phase shifting too. But here you'll see, here's the three-dimensional, and then there's other people up here. This one actually looks like she's standing on a limb, doesn't she? See, here's the limb of the tree. She's standing here, he's standing there. And we call this phase shifting a lot. More daytime. Now, let's see, how's this one work? I don't know. There's somebody. This person here should not be there. A lot of times it's, we'll get entities that come in as well. This right here, that many times when a portal opens, there's a light that shines through it. And it's very much like what you can describe as when people have an after life or after death experience or near death experience. They say that when they step inside this tunnel, it's filled with this light, real bright light that doesn't hurt their eyes. And that's actually what they were seeing. Daytime, whoops. And let's see. Now see how this person's actually lifting up out of their body. Here's his Here's his 3D. And this is a higher dimensional self. That's an H. These people came all the way from Pennsylvania to go to our woods. And this is some angelic light coming in around him. See how this one woman's down here, but then you're also seeing her becoming part of this tree. More. No. And see, here's Brad. Brad's way up here, looking down on the people, watching over them. And if you go into my into the group, look at all those orbs here. But if you go into my group at facebook.com/groups/Mary Sutherland, we have to go with this live stream. We have 300 and some photos, and I'm not going to go through them all with you. But if you're part of my group, you can go in there and see them. They're pretty amazing. See how this guy is actually lifting out of his body? See, here's one of... Oh, oops, I keep doing that. Here's one of him, and then here's the other one. I teach this up on my tour, stepping out of themselves. Now, remember going back to that vortex and the spinning molecules? This is a fun one because look at this. This is your spinning molecular body. See how this guy's upside down? This woman's kind of upside down and sideways, but she's also right here. And the rest of the people are right side up. See that? And here the same way. They're just all over the place. Duplicate cells. And then spirits, different spirits coming in. There's Cat. But anyhow, you can go look at, see how she's lifting up out of herself. See, all this stuff is real. But what you need is, until you're ready, get a digital camera and have somebody photograph you while you're in these places. And if you feel something, just photograph it and then review it later. There was one I wanted to kind of show you. Oh, and here's another really good one. See, the same lady. I have, what, over 700,000 pictures that are good. I don't keep the bad ones. But anyhow, if you go to the group, you'll be able to see all these pictures. And then if you really, really like my pictures, then you can also go in on my timeline, which would be facebook.com/sci-fi cafe, all one word, SCIFICAFE, and click photos, then click albums, and then enjoy all the photos that I have up there. If you want to learn more about this phenomena that's going on all around you that you don't see or understand, you can go to my website at burlingtonnews.net, or you can start from episode 1 all the way on up through of these live streams and learn. I don't charge, so I mean, for the information I'm giving you guys, I mean, you could be paying in the thousands, for all this information. And, because it's research that has been, or it's my work and it's been researched, it's been proven to be true. And I even take the time to explain to you of how it works and why it works. Give you scientific backup on it. I give you the history behind it. I give you the visuals. And I don't charge a dime, So, I mean, all I ask is that you appreciate my work. And if you do appreciate my work, to let other people know about my live streaming shows, and my teaching, in my group, and have them join my group, and also to go and check out my burlingtonnews.net. So all I ask of you, in exchange, and energy should always be exchanged for energy. So one good turn deserves another good turn. That's why people say thank you, and you follow up with you're welcome. It's exchange of energy. So anyhow, that's it for today. I have a lot of books on Amazon, but you can also find my books at burlingtonnews.net/books. And also, I'm working on a few more books right now. So anyhow, you can also find my books at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, libraries, wherever, they're out there. I think I have right now 7 books and a lot of articles. Working on getting some YouTube shows up as well, based off my BUFO archived radio show. So anyhow, you guys all have a great day. Here's Max. Say hi, Maxie. I love you. Anyhow, Max is ready to go downstairs, visit with Daddy, and I guess I'm ready too. Hope you enjoyed the show. And remember the name, Change Blindness. And that is why a lot of times we don't see things. It's because the brain's just not coded for it, and we only can focus on one thing at a time. So, and then, as I used to say on BUFO Radio, keep your eyes to the sky. Alrighty, and you all have a good time. I hope you had a great Christmas, and looking forward to year 2017. And let's see, I guess that's about it. Thank you all for listening today. And please feel welcome to share these live streams with your friends, okay? And anyhow, this is Mary Sutherland. Over and out. Okay, and thank you, Sandy and Sarah and Lynn and all you other good friends. I can't, so I'll see you later. I'll probably have another show up within the week, okay? Love you all.